Right, okay. So I know that this says So Confident is live now playing fashion designer. Obviously not playing fashion designer, but it made me choose a game. So I have basically been trying to work out. I've got this piece of software that I'm using, and I'm trying to do it. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? That noise. I'm gonna have to fix that at some point. Um, yeah, I have spent all day trying to work this software so that I can stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and now this is working. I'm discovering that um, those messages are coming through and making a noise, and that's annoying. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to turn that off. Alert box, maybe that's it. Turn that off. Let me see. Right, okay. Okay. So, right, the actual reason I came on here is because I know that some of you have been really struggling with sewing patterns, specifically what sizes to pick, and ahead of the live class that I'm going to do on Saturday, I really wanted to put your mind at rest a little bit and help you out with that. Now, I've talked about this before on Instagram, but it's not that easy to always find Instagram, so I am going to show you again. Right, okay, so for some reason I can't see your chat if it's on Facebook. So what was that? Let me see. Right, so if you're commenting, guys, I can't see it right now. I've been having a nightmare with this. Oh, I can see it now. That's good. Hi. Okay, we're good. Oh, do you ever feel like you've climbed a mountain when you've just been learning something that's so out of the comfort zone and does not come naturally to you? That's what I've been doing for hours. I even phoned my friend Ross, who introduced me to this software, who live streams all the time, and I messaged him like, I'm going to smash the room up because I can't deal with this anymore. But it's working. That's good. Okay, fab. I think it is anyway. Let me see. Maybe not. Anyway, I'll get back to all your messages. What I want to talk about is this pattern. So I've printed this, just a couple of these pages out, just so you can see the shape of this pattern, and specifically what size do you cut out to figure out how much fabric you need, and to protect your self-esteem, because to be honest, a lot of these patterns, the when you take your measurements, your sizes are wild. Like this is wanting you to cut out a size that is 2 or 3 times bigger than the size that you buy in the shops, right? So first thing is, do not freak out about whatever size that it's telling you to cut out. It's probably wrong, and it doesn't matter no one's going to ask you what size you cut out, so it doesn't matter. You can keep it completely to yourself, and it's not real life anyway. No one is a standard size, even in the shops. No one's a standard size. So I'm going to use my measurements as an example for this pattern. So you want to take, generally with sewing patterns, you want to take your bust, your waist and your hips. Bust at the fullest point, waist at the smallest point, hips at the fullest point again, and those are the measurements. Just jot them down. I see on some people's Instagrams, like sewers who sew all the time, they've got these measurements on as their bio. I'm definitely not putting mine on there, especially not my lockdown body measurements, because this is not the same body I had pre-lockdown, let me tell you that. I've been eating quite an alarming amount of chocolate during lockdown. But anyway, I'll share with you guys, I don't mind, I'll tell you what the sizes are. So on this pattern, first thing you're doing when you're looking at a pattern is figuring out, right, well, what sizes of the body actually matter in this pattern. So you can see this wrap dress, I'm actually wearing this wrap dress right now, has a giant waist situation going on here, right? Huge. So if your waist size is the one that pushes you up to a size bigger, then that doesn't matter in this pattern because the waist is huge. Similarly, if you have a pattern that is tight in at the waist and then has a big skirt on it, then your hips don't matter. So the only two sizes that you really want to consider is your bust and your waist for that pattern. There's always a bit of a discrepancy between what you like how you like to wear your clothes and how the pattern has been designed to be worn. And by that I mean I like to wear my clothes tight, but a lot of patterns, the style is that they're dead baggy. So I would take that into consideration as well, because the person who designed the pattern has probably added in extra space because they want that pattern to look kind of baggy or slouchy on you or whatever. And if you don't want it to look like that, then you have to size down. Now, I wouldn't size down willy-nilly. Look for, most patterns now have finished measurements, right? And these are really important because these tell you if you cut out the size 12, this is what we expect your body to, like your body sizes to be if you're cutting out the size 12. And then here's actually when you cut out and sew this size 12 dress, pair of shorts, whatever it is, this is the actual garment measurement. So if you were to put that garment flat on the table and measure, this is what size it is. So that's really important because what that means is you can decide exactly how much ease you're going to put into that pattern. So ease is the amount that the pattern designer has added into that pattern to make it look how they want it to look, i.e. baggy, tight, in the middle. And another consideration obviously is it a stretch pattern where you can get away with a lot more, or is it a non-stretch or a woven pattern where you really can? If you make that garment the exact same size as your body measurements and it's a woven fabric, then it is not going to fit, or if it does fit, it's going to be very uncomfortable. You want a bit of wiggle room, you want to be able to sit down, you want to be able to eat, you want to be comfortable, so you don't want to, you wouldn't match your body measurements to the finished measurements. It's just not going to be enough. Okay, so in this pattern, specifically this kilo wrap dress, because I'm doing it on Saturday, if you take your measurements, what I normally do is I just write them down. So the body measurement chart here, I've just written down what my bust is, what my waist is, and what my hips are. Now I've already told you that the waist doesn't matter, so you can actually completely discount that in this instance. So my bust is 90 centimetres, which is telling me to cut out a size 12. The waist is telling me to cut out a size 12, and the hips are telling me to cut out a size 10. Okay, so at the moment I'm looking like I'm between a 10 and a 12, right? So then when I look at the finished garment measurements, the size, because of the design of this, it actually only gives you the finished bust garment measurements in this pattern. So the bust measurements for the size 10 is 88.5, and the bust measurements for the size 12 is 92. So really, if this was a woven pattern, I would have to cut out the 12, because then it's giving me 2 centimetres of ease or wiggle room, whereas the size 10, which is 88.5, is giving me, like, that would be too small. That wouldn't fit me if it was a woven fabric. Now, if it's a stretch fabric, then all that means is, if your fabric has enough stretch, it just means it's going to be tight. So you can actually get away with going a little bit smaller. It's called negative ease. So if you want something to be tight, sometimes your clothes are actually smaller than your body if it's a stretch pattern. I know that I'm giving you a lot of information here, but if you've got any questions, I can answer them. Don't worry about it. Your finished body measurements, your finished garment measurements, on a pattern are one of the most important bits of information, I would say, because that's really giving you, once you know how to do it, it's giving you the opportunity to decide, right, how do I want to wear this? Do I want it to be tight? Now, the only thing about this is, if it is a pattern that is a non-stretch pattern, that is, say, a baggy t-shirt that has no buttons and no zips, and still has to fit over your head, then you need to be careful sizing down, because that is supposed to be big. It's got no buttons, it's got nothing to open it out, to let you put it on, to then close it up again. So for things like that, there's some like little blouses. There's quite a lot of free patterns out there that are woven, that have no stretch, and you would be you need to be very careful if you're sizing down, because they are intentionally big and baggy, so that you can actually get into them without the fabric stretching. So beware of that. If you're in doubt, just ask me. Ask any back the Facebook So Confident Social Facebook group that we've got. There's lots of folk in there which we could also help you out with whether you could size down or not. If it's stretchy, you can size down. And for this one certainly, so this one that I'm wearing is a 10, so I just cut out the 10 because I wanted it to be tight, and as you can see at the bust, it's not too tight at all. And that could be because this fabric's quite fine and I've had it on all day, so it's maybe stretched out a little bit, but at no point did I put this on and think I should not have sized down. I was delighted that I sized down because it fits me much better than it would have been too big if I'd gone for the 12. So yeah, sizing down is probably advisable in this pattern, I would say, but you wouldn't want to size down any more than so the finished measurement shouldn't be any more than 2 centimetres smaller than you at the bust, I would say. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful. I'm wondering, was there anything else that I was going to say? I can't really remember. I should have written a list of things, but don't let yourself get upset about the sizes that you're cutting out, because they don't mean excuse me, they don't mean anything. They should just be numbers. Excuse me. Right, let's see some of the chat here. I'm glad this chat's working, that's great. Hello everybody. This is so good and interesting. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Hello. I'm new and looking to learn about the sewing machine and patterns, but your live video was good, thank you. Okay, do all patterns accommodate for the seams? We're sewing, if that makes sense, so we don't add on any extra material. So all patterns will tell you. There's normally a blurb at the start of a pattern. Let me just see. This has got quite a lot of information. I didn't print off this whole pattern because I didn't have to, but I wanted to print off just the size chart and things. I'm sure the seam allowance in this is 1 centimetre. Most patterns have a seam allowance included. It's normally 1.5, but sometimes for jersey patterns it's smaller, because if they expect you to use the overlocker's built-in seam allowance, I feel like, is about 6mm, so sometimes it's just a 6mm seam allowance, which seems quite small, but actually when you're using an overlocker it's a dream. But I'm sure that this is a centimetre. I'll check that out. That's a good question though, because you do need to adhere to your seam allowance, otherwise things won't fit properly. I'm sure it's a centimetre. They would tell you. The pattern pieces actually sometimes tell you if they've got the seam allowance included or not as well, so that's worth looking at. Very helpful. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Laura. What size is it up to? Okay, Kim, good question. So this one goes up to whatever their equivalent of a UK size 18 is. So their finished garment measurements for a size 18 is a bust of 104 centimetres or 41 inches. If you could probably get away, I'm just trying to think of the shape of this pattern. It's probably not that difficult to add a bit extra onto this pattern if you needed to make it bigger. Could you make it bigger? I think you probably could. I'm trying to think of the shape of it. If you're bigger than that size, if anyone is significantly bigger than that size, let me know and I'll see if I can figure out a way to make the pattern bigger. If you're brand new to dressmaking, it might not be the best idea to start adapting patterns before you're really comfortable with it right enough, but so 104. So if you're 105, 106, 107, maybe even 108 bust measurement, you can get away with cutting out the 18 in this pattern, I would say. So confident Dundee's on there. Have to scoot off for my Foundation paper piecing class soon. Oh, hi Sandra. Enjoy the class. I still have to join that class one day. I'm actually dying to do it. Amy, so my bust is 104 centimetres with a good bra, haha, which is an 18 in the pattern. Would you say I could go down a size just to keep it tight on the boobs, or just stick with the 18? Right. If you're 104, let me see what the finished garment measurements are. Yeah, I think you could go down a size, because the finished garment size of the 100, as long as you're not using a stretch fabric that, some stretch fabrics are really quite restrictive. If you've got one that's quite stretchy, like this one, you could definitely get away with it. I think you could get away with sizing down. It's a risk, but worst case scenario, you just wear it without a bra, right? That's what I would do. If you wanted to be tight around the boobs, like I say, this one, this was the 10. Let me just open this out, right, so you can see what it's like, to give you an idea of what the pattern's like. So this is the shape of it, right? So look where the bust is. The pattern comes right out underneath. So there's a lot of room in here. And this is the 10. This is supposedly too small for me. I think you really could get away with sizing down. You could maybe even, so if you are a bit bigger than the biggest size in this, I think you could still cut out the biggest size and get away with it. Let's have a look. We'll measure myself up tonight. I'm bigger in the boobs, trying to work out if it will fit me. Okay, well Kim, if you need a hand, drop me a message, I will help you out. I'll get you to help me choose a fabric. Amy, I can help you choose a fabric. Yes, absolutely. Flora, can you do a chat on using what feet to use? On using what feet to use for what purpose? I could do. To be honest, I don't use... I've got lots of feet in here, right, and I don't use them. I've got a couple of fancy ones that I quite like. I've got this chunky even feed foot that quilters love. I don't really use it, to be honest. It came with my machine. Well, I say that I don't maybe use it because I use my overlocker a lot, but what have I used it for? I've used it for bag making. Anything where you've got lots of layers, it is a bit of a godsend when you need it, to be fair. I can certainly do a little video on the different feet that I do use. There's just not that many of them, because I think there's quite a lot of unnecessary feet. I know I shouldn't say that, because I sell a lot of, well, I can sell any of the Elna and Janome feet, but some of them I'm not a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the concealed zip foot. It makes sewing concealed zips, invisible zips, an absolute dream. If you let me know what feet you would be interested in hearing a bit more about, if I've got them, I can do a video on them, no bother. Tracy Edwards, could you just add a little bit on for a bigger size? I think you could, to be honest. As long as you don't alter the armhole, I think you could probably. It's a risk. What I don't want to do here is tell you absolutely go for it, and then you spend a fortune on fabric and make it and it doesn't work. I don't really want that liability. This is the thing, because I can't physically help you with it at the moment. Liz, is the pattern easy to do a small bust adjustment? 112 bust, happy for it to be a bit tighter on the boobs as long as the rest of the dress isn't too baggy. Right, 112, let me see. So, I don't know if you were watching there, Liz, when I stood up and I showed you this dress. Just focus on the bust size, the rest doesn't matter because the rest is really baggy. I'll open it again. If anyone just comes onto the live at this point, they're really going to wonder why I'm essentially taking my clothes off on the telly here. Right. See that? So this right now looks like it's going to absolutely drown me, but you get to decide how tight it is by how tight you tie it. So if you're 112, I would just be going for that 18 size. And I think you'll be fine with that. You don't really have to do small bust adjustments or large bust adjustments on stretch fabric so much. so you won't have to do anything. And this is a really weird pattern, like it's easy but the shape's weird, so it's not, I wouldn't be doing any technical adjustments on it at all. Tracy Edwards, what needle should we use? Use a standard needle until it doesn't work anymore. So see if your machine starts skipping or jumping stitches at all, you want to switch to a ballpoint needle or a stretch needle if you've got them. If you don't have them, don't worry, because a lot of the time you don't need them. My machine is quite happy to sew stretch, other than some types of scuba fabrics that feel a little bit kind of plasticky. I always need a stretch needle. I'll be using the overlocker for mine anyway, but if you're using a normal sewing machine, it's good to have some stretch or some ballpoint needles just kicking about in case that happens. So if ever you're sewing with stretch and things start skipping, stitches start skipping, or it stops stitching, quite often it's because you need to change your needle. Thank you, helpful to see how the dress looks, no problem. The sleeve pattern, by the way, is a free download on the Named Pattern website, and just bear in mind that if you want the sleeve you might need a little bit more fabric. I just cut out mine for the weekend there, and did I use, so I'm going to do a short sleeve actually, so I've cut out a sleeve that's probably about that long, and I think I used about 2.5 meters maybe. I didn't measure it because it was just on a roll when I just rolled it out and used it. So you might need 3 meters if you are wanting to do the sleeves, perhaps. If you're the bigger size, because I think that size requires 2.5 meters. Yes. So you want to add on probably a 0.5 meter if you want to do the sleeves. The sleeves are a really nice addition. I've done it with the sleeves and without the sleeves, and I really prefer the one with the sleeves. I don't know why. Amy, it would be a great maternity dress. It would be a great maternity dress. Tracy, a stretch needle, which is a different type of needle for your machine. So whatever your machine is, you can get universal ones. Just Google stretch needle and you'll be able to get them. Fab. Right, I'm so glad that I've got to test this live thing. I'm hoping that it's going out on YouTube and Facebook at the minute. We'll see. It might be going out on Twitch. I started a Twitch channel. I have no idea what Twitch is, but I think it's for people who are like playing computer games, that are live streaming them playing computer games. Anyway, I'm on there too. What settings do you use on your overlocker, please? Right, this depends on your overlocker really. You sometimes have to change your settings depending on the fabric that you're using. So quite often I'll get a wee scrap bit of fabric, run it through the overlocker, make sure it looks okay, and if it doesn't look okay, I'll start fiddling about with my tension dials. My machine is on 3333 at the moment, tension dial wise. I've got my differential feed on 0.5. That's one that I have to normally fiddle about with as well. Your differential feed, if you're overlocking and the fabric that comes out the other end, if it goes kind of wavy, then fiddle about with your differential feed. Change the dial, run it through again until it's sitting nice and flat. That should be fine. Stitch length, I've got it on 5. It doesn't really matter too much. Would this pattern work if you're pear-shaped? Is it narrow at the bottom? You guys just want me to do this again, don't you? Right. No, it's not narrow at the bottom. It's quite baggy actually. So I know you can't actually see the bottom here, but there is a vent at the back. So there's an open bit. And at no point is this tight anywhere on me. There's plenty of room. So if you're pear-shaped, you're fine. This is one of the only patterns I've come across that I think would suit most shapes, to be honest. And you know what's nice about it? See, if you've got a little bit of a belly, which in lockdown I do, this just confuses people when they can't see it. This situation here. It's great. It's very flattering. I love it. Book Buddy, are the sleeves an add-on? Yes, the sleeves are an add-on. The pattern is Named Patterns. I think it's namedclothing.com or something. You just Google named sewing patterns, it'll come up. The sleeve is a free add-on. There's not only is there a sleeve pattern in there, but you actually have to adjust the bodice a little bit. So there's a part that you have to just stick on to adjust the bodice, because they just move the armhole out a little bit so that it's not, so that your sleeve doesn't start in there, because the sleeveless version of the dress, this bit's narrower. So there's a little bit of sticking a new bit of paper onto the bodice, the original bodice pattern as well. But it's easy, you'll be able to do it. Where is the pattern and what time on Saturday? The pattern is Named Patterns, namedclothing.com, I'm sure it is. They are a lovely company. I wonder if I can, I don't think I can actually, I don't think I can actually respond to you in typing form, so I can't send you any links right now, but it's named clothing, named patterns online, and it is called the Kilo wrap dress, which is Kielo wrap dress. You can get it on there. The YouTube live is on Saturday, this Saturday coming at 11. I will do it live and I'll probably post it up, so even if you can't join live, don't worry about it, I'll still put it up there. Jennifer Penman. I didn't even notice that there was a typo in there. I just read that as pair, so you're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Book Buddy, you found them. Brilliant, that's good. Teresa says, yes, it's live on YouTube just now. Thanks for checking, Teresa. Thank you so much. If you knew the day I'd had, like, pulling my hair out trying to get this to work. Annoying, but thank you for checking. I do appreciate that. There we go. Amy's giving you the link. namedclothing.com/shop/kilo-wrap-dress. Thank you so much, Amy. That is great. And you gave us a link in your last chat for the pattern. Yes, I did, Jill. The link is everywhere. And Rebecca's put it in there as well. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. That's fab. Oh, what a nice bunch you are, honestly. Right, so who's going to join me on Saturday then? I'm really looking forward to it. I've got it cut out. I actually considered making one today and then doing another one, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to hold my horses. Who's going to join me? Good. That's good. So it's a so long more than a class, but I think I will end up kind of teaching you things as I go anyway, and you can always ask me questions, of course. P. Robinson says, I'll join, but purely as a watcher on this occasion. That's fine, you'll still learn loads. Teresa, me to watch, not so. Oh, good, this is good. Well, it'll be 11 o'clock on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. I will, if I can find out a way to switch my cameras, because I've got little cameras here that get you in close to what I'm doing and things. I don't know if I can take any more educating myself about this technology. Like, it's properly like burst my brain right open today. DG says, I am working, but I will catch up. That's cool. I will post it. It won't just be live. Waiting on the passionate and material to arrive. Cool. That's fab. Will you put the video up after doing the live? Yes, I will. It'll be on YouTube. I'll maybe just put it on the Facebook as well, but I will be putting it on somewhere, so don't worry about it. So if you did want to just watch a little bit at the start, maybe, or you can watch the whole thing without sewing along, and then you can watch it back if you like. That's fine. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. This is the first time I've done. We've done a live sew along in the past, but I've never done a whole class in one go. It's probably going to be, I mean, with me chatting, it could be 3 hours to be honest, but I'll try and do it quicker than that. I'll try and do it as quick as I can. I'm looking forward to it. And then if it all goes well and we all have fun, then I'll just keep doing different patterns every so often. I've got a lot of fabric and I've got a lot of ideas of things I want to do, so that would be cool. Right, okay, I am going to leave all you guys to it. Have a nice evening. If you've got any questions about sizing on this pattern, or what fabric, we've got a lot of fabric. We've got fabric specifically good for beginners as well. So if you are a beginner and you're thinking, I've had a couple of people message me today actually who are saying this is like one of my first dressmaking expeditions, if you like. What fabric should I use? Because there are some fabrics, even though a lot of them are all called jersey, some are fine and some are a bit more structured and some are easier to work with. So if you're struggling at all and you want any fabric recommendations, let me know. Elaine McLaughlin, the class is 11 a.m. on Saturday, this Saturday, on YouTube and Facebook, now that I can do both at the same time, hopefully. Right, I'm going to go, if I can figure out how to stop. Yeah, I can. I see the button to stop this. That's fine. You guys have a lovely night, and I will see you all on Saturday at 11. Have everything cut out. I'm not going to be cutting out live. I've already cut mine out. The pattern needs interfacing. If you can't find stretch interfacing, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. This one doesn't have it, so it's not the end of the world. But have all your any markings marked in if you do want to sew along with me. There's a dart on this pattern that you want to have marked in as well. It just means that you'll be able to sew in real time. Tracy, what fabric's best for the dress, please? There is, if you message me, I'll send you a link. In the event for this, there is also a list of all of the fabrics, or you can go into the Sew Confident website, shop, fabric, anything that says it's stretch is fine. If you're a beginner, the dark blue denim jersey is really good for beginners, and the scuba, there's 2 scubas that are pretty good. There's a leopard print scuba. The green leopard print scuba there's not enough of, there's only 1 metre left. There's a tartan scuba that's pretty cool. That's what I would recommend for beginners. Right guys, that's me going now.